Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, let's get right into the news here because there's quite to cover on this Sunday. And it appears that the Soy Democrat Party caucus is absolutely frightened by Laura Buber, as she carries that cannon on her hip in the House of Representatives. They're claiming they are fearful of their other representatives. They shouldn't be fearful. Absolutely, these people like Eric Swalwell, who sits there and shacks up with a Chinese spy and is not held accountable, should definitely be fearful of the American people. Because we are not happy with these individuals. Heck, back in the 1800s, there was always violence on the House floors, where they would cane each other on the floor because of their political differences, and because of their strong ideals where they stood. And Adam Schiff, almost called the MASH, it might well be Adam Schiff as well. These lawmakers are all scared because the metal detectors have now been taken down entering the House of Representatives. So Laura Boebert is now able to walk around with her hand cannon strapped to her hip, absolutely based anyway. So let's go and take what we have here coming to us from the post-millennials as Eric Swalwell and Mrs. Josh Powell claim to fear workplace violence event from the House GOP. Oh my gosh, they're going to have a house shooting. It's going to be worse than January 6, 9/11. In the Silver War combined is what they're fearful. Of course, it's all rhetoric, right? Down here, we come down and it says Democrat Representative Eric Swalwell and Mr. Jetson Chappelle, in an interview released on Friday, shared their fears of living in QQ and on reality, where the possible armed Republican colleagues could become violent in the workplace. Speaking with left-wing outlet Raw Story, Swalwell called his fellow lawmakers of the opposite opposing party unstable and shared his worries of being a victim of workplace violence. A lot of my Republican colleagues glorify violence and proudly display their firearms they have in their offices, so it makes me very nervous that we could have a workplace violence event. They're not the most stable people coming from the same party who thinks a man to be a woman, and woman can be a man, that men can give birth. Yeah. I don't think the unstable this is coming from the Republican Party. Believe it role is exactly what the Democrat Party. You guys are the party of mental illness anyway. Since Republicans took back the House, the magnet meter weapon detector devices put in place for it by former Speaker Pelosi following January 6, Capitol riot have been uninstalled, according to Swalwell. This is a recipe for disaster. Representative Dan Kildee also told the outlet that it is a frightening group of people over there. Representative Lauren Beaupre celebrated the Texas remover striking fear and checks on Chuck Powell. I think they should be removed from the Capitol filled with terminate and blown up, Buber told the New York Post moments before the devices were removed on Tuesday. They should not feel unsafe. If they do, they should come and see me for concealed carry weapons permit, and I can make sure they are locked and loaded in D.C. legally. She continued before slamming Pelosi. Jinja 2 Powell says this is a new reality. And it's unfortunate. Stay scared. You sit there, you soy-based mental illness basket cases, a Democrat Party. I want you guys fearful. I want you guys to sit there and look on the earth side and see what the Second Amendment actually looks like instead of you trying to dismantle it. Actually, how about we try something a little different and celebrate it by showing that we are honoring our forefathers who had fought a revolutionary war in order for us to enjoy these wonderful rights that the rest of the world are envious of. And this is some big news. Thank you. For at least Kevin McCarthy had the dignity to thank President Trump and recognize President Trump from keeping him from not being Speaker of the House. There was a little bit of drama happening over there. For instance, this was caught that there was. Marjorie Taylor Greene had President Trump on the phone and was going to people. So President Trump could have convinced with the last minute there, and there's a picture of the Rosendale not wanting to speak to Trump. You can see there that I'm not able to see it. But the phone says DT that she's got Donald Trump on the phone. So President Trump made it happen. But we've got this article here from Breitbart that breaks down what happened. Donald Trump played a crucial role in getting Speaker McCarthy across the finish line. Donald Trump played a vital role behind the scenes in bringing about a compromise among House Republicans. Elect Representative Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. On the historic 15 ballot for the speakership, Friday night, McCarthy finally sealed the deal and garnered the votes necessary for the position. Chief among us responsible for forging a compromise was Trump, according to several GOP members of Congress, and a source familiar with the conversations and already played you that Kevin McCarthy acknowledged that President Trump made this happen. Representative Jim Jordan, who will chair the Judiciary Committee in the 118th Congress, and was a crucial player in these negotiations, lauded Trump for his work helping to bring about a deal. This doesn't get done without the support and leadership of President Trump. Representative Byron Donalds, who acknowledged the 45th president role in the negotiations while speak with reporters Friday, noting he played a good part in this. So we see the Byron Donalds, who was actually nominated and voted for himself at one point and others voted for him. Looks like he got turned around by President Trump. I want you to understand this is a process of the members of Congress. And so this is something where the members have had a lot of time around each other to try to get comfortable, have real conversations, and to get an outcome. Donald supported McCarthy on the first day of voting, but once it became apparent he did not have the votes of the time, Dallas began voting against them, was even nominated for the position in opposition to McCarthy on numerous ballots. Donalds was among those key votes, who will coalesce behind McCarthy and allow the 118th Congress to start conducting business. Let's see if McCarthy isn't vindictive and retaliates against Biggs, Gates, Boebern, Rosendale and Donalds here. These calls were not mere one-offs, but included ongoing correspondences with many different lawmakers. Trump's involvement persists throughout this week, including in talks last night and this morning ahead of the crucial breakthrough for McCarthy. According to the source, on Friday night, he made calls to Representative Matt Gaetz and Andy Biggs, both of whom voted against McCarthy for days until the matter needed to be resolved. Ultimately, on the 15th round, they voted present, helping to lower the vote threshold to McCarthy. Catherine Folders over at ABC News was the first to report former President Trump placed calls to both Andy Biggs and Matt Gaetz as all the drama played out on the House floor. I'm told both of them have changed the votes to present this round. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'ma call her sellout right now. She was MAGA goes to mix. A lot of noise was a firebrand goes to a DC. So the fact that MTG immediately was behind while she was with President Trump, I actually was with McCarthy from the very get-go. She wasn't on any committees with finally going to be on a committee, was gonna be the superstar, plus she divorced her husband. Maybe I'm being unduly harsh, but I'm weary of MTG going forward. Let's see if she doesn't become another swamp creature. And Bert and Gaetz, I think, saw the writing on the wall that it was going to be the eventual Kevin McCarthy, that it was going to be no budging, that the other four, maybe perhaps or eventually they only need one vote to get those four. So they acquiesced because President Trump asked them to. His statement that he put out supportive Kevin McCarthy, "It was like some men for our 201 that refused to move away from Kevin," Greene said, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It told many of them that look, the support is there. Trump telling everyone in that statement that I'm working the phones, I'm talking with everybody. That was support that was needed at a critical time when members could have fallen off, Greene concluded, and thankfully they didn't, because America is truly about to see the most conservative Republican Speaker of the House that they have seen in decades. I do not like Newt Gingrich, but I would say that in most recent history, he's probably one of the more conservative speakers of the House. Now, let me get into my analysis of what I think this all means. First and foremost, this means business as usual in DC, in that people are controlled. I believe that McCarthy is going to be controlled by President Trump. Now, some people think this is a great thing. I think this is horrible. I am tired of controlled people, even if they're controlled to do the right thing. I wanted someone principled there, like a Jim Jordan, who didn't want it and understand he doesn't want that job. He wants to head the Judiciary Committee and do what he does best and expose what's going on. Kim Jordan's been a fighter, I think would have been a great Speaker of the House, but he doesn't have it in him because he doesn't want it. Okay, Andy Biggs would have been good as far as having the gusto. But I don't think he has the leadership and the support. I think Jim Jordan would have had it. Same thing with Donalds. I don't think he has the support, like he's built that support. If to me, it was always Jim Jordan was the best one. Even Matt Gaetz said that Matt Gaetz never even put himself up for it. So I think what we're going to have is a good news flash for all of you thinking everything is negative, and then being on negative we're going to have, and I'm not going to put this maybe in the headline of the title so people can understand what I'm trying to say here, we're going to have a de facto President Trump as Speaker of the House. Now, there's been all kinds of theories that President Trump has the goods on Kevin McCarthy, and he'll be able to control them, and people think it's a good thing. It's a better thing than having a rogue guy out there. But it's not a good thing. We had a chance to drain the swamp and get a principal person, and what did Trump just tell us? Tell us two things and you can judge it for whatever you want. 1. It's business as usual. He is going to control someone. And to President Trump wasn't really serious. I know that gonna piss a lot of you off. He wasn't serious about draining the swamp. If President Trump was serious about draining the swamp, he would have recruited someone other than Kevin McCarthy, maybe convinced a Jim Jordan to do it and move forward. Kevin McCarthy got exactly what he wanted. And that's why and how he will be controlled by President Trump. We will have good news, a de facto President Trump as Speaker of the House going into 2024. But this does not fare well for America, for the Republican Party, and for having principle-based representatives. And look, I'm from California and New York, and I am tired of the California speakers of the House, the elitist, and Kevin McCarthy as a swamp creature, and I don't care President Trump's gonna control him. I don't want to Speaker the House is controlled by anybody. This is a bad thing. And I agree with Matt Gaetz. Look, President Trump isn't infallible. And let me give you 2 reasons for that for you as a takeaway. Alright. Matt Gaetz is correct. President Trump is not very good at our. Jeff Sessions should have got them out. Jeff Sessions did a great job at getting all of the counselors. So I like Jeff Sessions. I think he's an honorable guy. But he didn't have it in him. He should have put in Matt Whitaker. No, he put an Ag Bill Barr disappointment in a swamp cover opera. Okay. He did a cover-up of the Hunter Biden didn't want to get involved. Did a lot of talking, didn't do anything. Remember Matt Whitaker said, yeah, there's reasons to and I would prosecute, I wish I would have gone after Hillary Clinton. Mad Dog Mattis did a great job destroying ISIS, then goes AWOL. Aspers all kinds of people that were terrible in President Trump's inner circle. A Galaxy ban should have been around him the whole time. Now, I can't remember Steve Bannon left because he wanted to whatever. But there's a lot of animus towards Steve Bannon. He doesn't get our. Right. Remember, he had warmongers? There. And he went through several secretaries of state. I think it did a good job with Mike. A great job with Mike Pompeo. President Trump's strong suit is not HR, is not getting the right people around him. Mark Meadows, also stabbing him in the back when he was contesting certain things a couple years ago that he wasn't in agreement with when it came to results. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm just saying. President Trump doesn't always get people that support him, and he keeps them around too long. The biggest example, which we're still suffering through right now, is FBI Director Chris Wray. That's the first thing, and the second thing is a recent news item that Junior Rhett covered this morning. But we had Junior at this morning cover this story that, remember, with the Las Vegas shooting, President Trump got all touchy-feely on us and he, through the executive branch, did away with the bump stocks. Well, that was reversed by an appeals court. President Trump was wrong on that Second Amendment. Second Amendment is Second Amendment, and President Trump showed us he was soft on that. So this has 2 examples of our several examples. I mean, the first example is that President Trump has a less than stellar track record on supporting the right people into the bump stock thing. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and